Right now, there is a feeling inside you with no name. And the word I am about to teach you will quietly ruin it. You have carried this feeling around for years without a word for it, and that was fine. A feeling with no name is still yours, in a way a named one never quite is again. Here is the thing almost nobody tells you about naming a feeling. The name does not just point at the feeling from a safe distance. It reaches in and changes the feeling itself. And once you have learned the word, there's no way to go back to not knowing it. Start with a feeling you have already had. You're stuck in traffic. You look over at the car beside you, at the stranger sitting behind the wheel, and it suddenly hits you that this person has a whole entire life of their own. They have 2 parents and a childhood, and a private worry they had last night that you will never once hear about. Every single person you pass is the main character of a story every bit as big as yours. And in the middle of their enormous story, you are just an extra in the background. For one long second, the sheer size of that is almost too heavy to hold in your chest. That feeling has a name now: Sonder. And here's the part that almost everyone leaves out. Sonder is not some ancient word passed down for centuries. A writer named John Koenig made it up, and he put it in a book he called The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. The feeling is genuinely old. The word for it is younger than the phone in your pocket. So watch what just happened to you. A moment ago, that feeling was wild and wordless and a little overwhelming. Now it's a neat little box with a label printed on the front. It feels seen, and being seen is a relief. But it also feels smaller than it did. You just traded a piece of the raw thing for the comfort of a name. And that trade is not only happening in your mind, it's happening in your brain. Deep inside there sits a little almond-shaped part that flares up whenever you feel something strong. It reacts immediately to fear, to anger, and to a threatening face that frightens you. In 2007, a psychologist named Matthew Lieberman slid people into a brain scanner and showed them upsetting images. When people simply looked at the images, the almond lit right up. But when they put the feeling into words and picked the label angry or afraid, the almond went quiet, and a thinking part near the front of the brain switched on in its place. The word acted like a hand resting on a dial. Naming the feeling turned the volume of it down. It did not fight the feeling, and it did not argue the feeling away. It simply gave the feeling a name and quietly set it down on the table. Scientists have a name for this move. They call it affect labeling. Now here's the genuinely strange part. In a later set of 4 studies, Lieberman's team had people do the very same thing, and naming a feeling reliably took the edge off what they felt. But when you asked them beforehand, they swore up and down that it would never work. Even after they felt it work with their own eyes, they still refused to believe it. Naming your feelings helps you quietly, behind your own back, whether you trust it or not. Then a team led by a scientist named Kirkansky tried this on something people truly dread: spiders. They found people who were badly scared of them, and they slowly walked each frightened person up toward a real, live spider sitting in a jar. One group was told to say out loud exactly how afraid they felt, and to name it as plainly as they could. Scared, anxious, heart-pounding. Then, a full week later, every one of them came back and had to meet a different spider, in a different room, with different people watching. The people who had named their fear out loud stayed noticeably calmer the second time. Their own bodies reacted less, measured right there through their skin. And there was a quiet little pattern buried in the recordings of what they had said. The more fear words a person had used, the more their fear had actually gone down. Which leaves you with a question that really should nag at you a little. When you name a feeling, are you just finding a word for something that was already sitting there, fully formed? Or is the word itself helping to build the feeling in the first place? Picture your feelings as jars on a shelf, and your words as the labels on them. Some people keep a shelf crowded with different labels: sad, lonely, restless, hollow, wistful. Other people keep only 2 or 3 enormous jars, and everything painful just gets poured into that identical container over and over. And it turns out, this matters far more than it sounds like it should. People who can name their feelings in fine, careful detail handle those feelings noticeably better. When these detailed labelers are hurting, they are less likely to drink too much, or lash out at somebody, or turn the pain around against themselves. In one study, the psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett followed people for 14 days straight and had them name what they were feeling each day. The ones who had more names for their feelings ended up with more ways to steer them. More words simply meant more control. The label was never only describing the feeling. It was a handle you could actually pick the feeling up by. And this hints at something much bigger about how feelings even work in the first place. One idea, from that same scientist Lisa Feldman Barrett, says your brain does not simply find emotions sitting ready and waiting inside you. It builds them on the spot. It takes your pounding heart, your tight chest, the churn in your stomach, and it reaches for a concept to make sense of all that mess. And the concepts that it reaches for are made out of words. So the word isn't a sticker you slap onto a finished feeling. It might be one of the actual parts that the feeling gets built out of. Change the words that you carry around, and you may quietly change what your brain is even able to build. Which carries us right back around to Sonder. You'll never again feel that traffic feeling as a pure, wordless flood the way you once did. From now on, a small voice inside you will say, "Oh, this is that thing. This is Sonder." The word will always be standing there between you and the raw feeling underneath it. And that's the quiet cost of every single dictionary of feelings. Each word that it hands to you is a gift and an edit at the exact same time. It shows you the feeling clearly, and in the very same breath, it tames the feeling down. A map does not only describe the land it covers. Draw the map, and the land itself slowly starts to change. So your feelings aren't simply waiting inside you, finished and complete, for you to walk in and discover them. And they aren't pure invention either. They are built, at least in part, out of the words you happen to already own. Which might initially sound like a kind of terrible loss. It's actually the exact opposite. Because it means you're not stuck forever with only the feelings you can already name. You can go and learn a brand new word and grow into a feeling you were never quite able to feel before. And you can hand another person a single word and gently change what they themselves are able to feel. Which is exactly what just happened right here, between you and me. I handed you one small word, and something inside you shifted a little. So be careful which words you decide to pick up and keep. You're not only learning them. Quietly, one at a time, they are teaching you what to feel.